What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised. The Vampire Diaries ran for 8 seasons and had 2 spin-offs, the originals and Legacies. It highlighted 2 main love triangles, Elena and the Salvatore brothers, and Catherine and the Salvatore brothers. It would seem that after all this time, after watching the show millions of times, we would know everything about it. But that's not the case, since there are hidden aspects and details that fans usually miss. So guys, without further ado, here are the things you only notice the second time you watch The Vampire Diaries. Number 10. Elijah and KLAUS versus STEFAN and DAMON. Now we all know that both of these couples have a brother who is the villain, and both brothers are ready to do everything in order to save the other brother. STEFAN is the loving brother, while we get introduced to DAMON as he's showing a much more I don't care side. And throughout the show, we have some changes in the before-mentioned characters, but they are not some major ones as the characters stick to their personalities. DAMON is bothered with STEFAN for making him drink blood, therefore making his vampire conversion. Because of his rage, he does things like killing STEFAN's best friend and taking STEFAN's girlfriend. But STEFAN holds to the belief that DAMON can be changed. And when you think about it, Elijah and KLAUS and STEFAN and DAMON's relationship is practically the same.
Were you following me?
No, I saw you fall.
Number 9. DAMON and ELENA'S biomom. Isabel, ELENA'S biomom and ALARIC's first wife, was really intrigued by the vampires. ALARIC appeared in Mystic Falls to discover the vampire that he thought killed his wife. We later find out that the vampire Isabel was in contact with DAMON. So everyone, including STEFAN, believes that DAMON was the one that killed her. Later, it's revealed that DAMON turned her into a vampire and he had sex with her. He talks to ALARIC about it to him to get angry, of course. When Isabel sees DAMON, they mention their affair. Isabel understands that DAMON is in love with her teenage daughter, and everything about the situation is just complicated. Elena also knows everything. Still, she forgets about this. Would you ever be this forgiving?
Right. And that person is gone. The woman I married, the woman I love, she's gone.
Number 8. Not much of diaries. Now, we all know the show is called The Vampire Diaries, but we don't see many diaries throughout the show. Only in the first season, the first episodes to be more precise, we see STEFAN and Elena writing in their diaries. Both writing about each other, and the diary writing shows a danger when they worry about Elena's diary being exposed. Therefore, everyone would find out about the vampires. Later, there's a Dear Diary moment when Elena is in her Sleeping Beauty curse. Each friend addresses her with a letter or diary note, so when she wakes up, she'll know what life has been without her. And that's it. No more diaries. Well, until it's explained in Legacies that STEFAN's diaries are stored in the Salvatore School for the Young and Gifted. Number 7. Orphans. Elena and Jeremy appear at the beginning of the show as orphans. We all remember how they tried to recover from the death of their parents. Elena isolates herself more, and she certainly doesn't have the life she had before her parents died. And on the other side, Jeremy rebels in school and uses drugs to deal with his pain. But not many people notice that later in the show, a lot of characters are presented as orphans. Caroline loses both her parents, Tyler loses his dad, his uncle, and his mom. Both DAMON and STEFAN also appear as orphans, and the other characters who are not orphans also end up losing many family members, such as the case with Matt and Bonnie. And because these characters grew up without the support of their parents, they are challenged to grow up faster. So we can all see them quickly turn into adults. Have you guys ever noticed this before? Let us know.
Yes, I was just, it's a long story.
Number 6. The first Immortals. When the originals first appeared in The Vampire Diaries, they were presented as the first Immortals. But that's not true. Generally recognized as the originals, the original vampires are a group of remarkably powerful vampires who were the beginning of their bloodline, or the original vampire generation. So that's why they're so strong. In the series, the originals were the Michelson family members: Michael, Finn, Elijah, Rebecca, KLAUS, and Cole. They couldn't be killed unless stabbed by the White Oak stake. But later, in Season 4, Silas appears, and we find out that the Michelsons were not the initial Immortals. Silas is an ancient witch who was immortal years before the originals came. Number 5. ALARIC Towered Original. So back when the originals appeared, we learned a little bit about their history. When her youngest son, Henrik, was killed by the Namering werewolf family, the strong witch Esther turned her family into vampires. Doing a secret blood ritual using Tatia's blood, her 5 surviving children, Niklaus, Elijah, Finn, Rebecca, Cole, and her husband, were transformed into original vampires. Which means they are now stronger and harder to kill. In Alaric's situation, though, he is turned by Esther Michelson with the immortality spell, a developed variant of what was used on the Michelson family. So guys, there was no need for a doppelganger. Apparently magic was the only solution for TVD writers. Number 4. A questionable education. Back when Elena and Caroline first appeared in the show, they were spending some time in school. But as the show continued, they turned into vampires. They got involved in various vampire events and, well, they weren't seen as much at school. And when you watch the show for the second time, you just can't help but wonder how these 2 students passed their exams and got to Whitmore College. Did they actually compel the admission department to let them into college? Maybe faked exams? Maybe the writers forgot about the school thing and just focused on the girls spending their time with paranormal activities and partying. And this is not only the case with the 2 girls, we have no explanation about the other members too. We only see Elena and Stefan when they sit in the same class. All the other events include parties and relationship dramas. So guys, have you ever noticed this before? Let us know. Also, don't forget to press that like button if you enjoy the video so far. Number 3. Stefan and Elena. Now let's go back to the first episode again. It's really unbelievable how much the characters have grown since then. Aside from the characters, the whole show has changed in some way, which is perfectly normal. Now, if you watch the show once and you go back to the pilot, you'll be amazed by how different it hits when you watch the pilot for the second time, which we're sure you did. And you notice some things you never did, since, well, the first time you only worry for Elena and Stefan to be together. So when the pilot opens, Stefan is narrating and says, "This is my story," and it's weird that people often forget that this is Stefan and Elena's story. They both write in their diaries in the first episode, and because of the change throughout the show, forgetting whose story this is kind of normal. We got introduced to many characters and the story changed as well, but Stefan and Elena stayed the focus in the show until the very end. Number 2. 50 Shades of Grey Easter Egg. Easter eggs are discovered in the media more and more as time goes by. Called Easter eggs because they simulate the idea of an Easter egg hunt to find them. They can be a hidden message, character, or image, and they are the director's little secret. Now, did you guys know that The Vampire Diaries is the longest-running vampire show? Amazing, right? And what's even more amazing is even if it ended years ago, we're still watching it and we discover more and more. Whether you were Team Stelina or Team Delina, you probably missed the show a lot. But the great thing is that we have Legacies now, so let's hope some of these actors appear in there as well. Now, a few years ago, there was this ongoing speculation about who would take on the role of Christian Grey in the NSFW movie. And Ian Somerhalder was one of the options for the role. Now, here's a detail that is really hard to notice, so bravo to the devoted fan who discovered this. As you know, Jamie Dornan starred in the film alongside Dakota Johnson. The great thing is that in Season 8 of TVD, you'll see Damon Salvatore reading a copy of the 50 Shades book. Number 1. Human Caroline versus Vampire Caroline. Human Caroline was all for Stefan, but didn't get him. She believed that guys will always go after Elena, and she kind of knew that Elena wasn't trying at all. She then had a crush on Damon, but Damon, as he is, only used her for news reports, and well, he wasn't treating her with respect. Later, Human Caroline loved Matt, but Matt needed a long time to develop feelings for her. And when Caroline turned into a vampire, her character practically changed. Because, well, she rose her ego up to the clouds and every possible guy was after her. Remember her in KLAUS? She even attracted one of the original vampires. And during the show, KLAUS tells Caroline that she loves being a vampire so much that she wouldn't even want to transform into a human. During this scene, when you see Caroline, you simply know she agrees. This happens with every character that turned into a vampire. They are somehow more interesting, more alive, and wilder. We end our video here, guys. What is your favorite thing about the Vampire Diaries? Do you have your favorite character? Let us know in the comment section below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more amazing videos such as this. Thanks for watching!